Welcome everybody. Today we're going to talk about the power of Phone Zone. If you've never heard those two words together, you're normal, because I had no idea what Phone Zone meant. It just sounded weird, right? We're going to phone in the zone. And I'm like, this is corny, but it was powerful, okay? And eventually you become a believer of Phone Zone, just like you become a believer of our Huh. If you don't know what a Huh is yet, you probably watched the wrong video, haven't attended enough meetings to know yet, you will experience it. So the reason I like Phone Zone is because it changed my business career. I was very scared to make phone calls. I didn't know what to say, who to call, how to answer questions that I was being asked, how to overcome objections that people were giving to me. And I remember being invited and they said, hey, are you coming to Phone Zone? And I said, well, what? No, I'm coming Tuesday. No, that's BOM. I'm like, oh, there's another meeting. What is this one about? And well, this one's where you learn actually how to make calls and what to say. And I said, oh, okay, so you guys are going to train me on like scripts and we're going to role play? No, it's live. You're seeing phone call. I'm like, oh, people are actually calling other people at the meeting where I can learn what to say. I want to go. And I remember I would go and I would sit down in front of Pat and I would say, oh, that was a good objection. What's he going to say? Or man, I don't even know how to come back from that. Or, hey man, that was so easy. Why am I making this a big deal? But it exposed me to what the business really was. If there's a skill you want to learn, prospecting and phone calls. If you learn those two, the amount of matchup to catch up that can happen in your business is phenomenal. But you want to master the phone. So let me give you a couple reasons for the power of Phone Zone. Number one, you hear all the questions that people are going to ask you. This way, when you're being asked that question, you're not stuttering or stumbling, and you can answer it with confidence and certainty. Number two, you learn how to overcome all of the objections. Is it sales? Do I have to pay money to get started? Is this one of those things? And when you're new, you have no idea what to say. And then you go and you realize, wow, this is actually very, very simple. Number three, you get to shadow all the top leaders in your office. So maybe your upline, your marketing director, your director, your FA, whoever your upline is, they have a certain way of doing things. But maybe you also want to be able to watch other people, how they do it, and be able to take from each different person their strength. So the fact that you can go in on a Monday night or whenever your team does Phone Zone and say, hey, is it okay if I just come in and listen to you make a couple calls? As long as you're in there and you're taking notes and you're being studious, don't be afraid to ask. Now, if you have numbers, you can also say, hey, I have a number. Could you please call this person for me? And you can have other people help you with your calls. That's number four, actually. Number five, you can bring your team so they can also learn the words. Instead of you being the only person to teach them, and you're responsible for teaching everybody everything, a system builder will say, hey, just come to the meeting and the meeting will build my team or build your team. So very, very powerful. Next one, you build confidence and overcome your insecurity of being on the phones. Now, I remember I was on a phone call, making a call for one of my guys, and this person literally hangs up on the phone. They say, don't ever call me again. Take me off your list, buddy. And I'm like, oh, man, this hurt. This really hurt emotionally, like getting rejected, right? Getting rejected hurts. Eventually you build thick skin, alligator skin, and you start laughing at this stuff. But at the first, you're not laughing. You go from crying to laughing, but it starts with crying. So I'm like, and I don't want my new person to be disappointed or discouraged because I don't want them to quit. So I just continue on the phone call like they're on, oh yeah? Okay, well listen. And I step out of the hallway. This is on our Blucher office, our first office, first PHP office, the story builders. And so I go into this corner and I'm by myself and I make sure nobody's around me and I just hang up the phone. And I'm like, what the heck are you doing? Man, you're calling people? Do you really want to do this? And it's crazy how you can allow rejection to just get you to be so discouraged that you don't make another phone call. And when you're at Phone Zone and you walk back in there and other people are making these calls and the energy, and you're seeing other people get told no too. And all of a sudden you're like, hey, do you keep your options open? No, I'm not really interested. And okay, hey, can I ask you, is there any reason you're not interested if you don't fully know what we do? Are you interested? Are you open to making a little bit extra income? No, I'm not interested. Okay, cool. Hey, have a great night. Boom. And then they make the next call. And I would see Pat, like, most of the time he turned that objection around. But even on the ones that he didn't, it was like, wow, he gets no's too. And then the way that he dealt with the no, like I learned how to deal with no because I went to phone zone. Okay, cool, take care, John. Okay, Billy, do you have a number? And I was like, oh man, he's not even bothered by this. So they learn the mentality. You learn the mentality there. Another point, you can make calls in front of the leader to get feedback. So maybe you're making a lot of phone calls, but you're not booking a lot of your appointments, or you're booking a lot of appointments, but they're not showing up. And you're like, what am I not doing? What am I not saying? So you go and say, hey, would you mind listening to me make 3 calls and just kind of give me feedback? Would you mind listening to me make 3 calls and give me feedback? All of a sudden, you're getting live coaching. Things that you would pay people thousands of dollars for, you get for free in our business because that's the support system that we have. Next one. You get to learn from different personalities. Like I said, you could watch different leaders. Maybe your way of doing it is going to be different. And you say, I really like the way that such and such does it. I relate to them. And that's really our business. You're going to find people that are very, very successful that all have a different personality, but all run the same system. And so Phone Zone is very effective. You learn how to navigate a potential agent into becoming a client. Meaning maybe they're not open to the business, but hey, maybe they're open to a policy. You learn how to say that, make that call at Phone Zone. You also learn how to take a client from being a client to inviting them to a BOM. You learn how to get referrals. You learn how to call referrals. The power of Phone Zone is that you learn how to follow up in a professional way. And everything that I've known, I've learned at Phone Zone. And my goal was to bring a fresh top 25 of people that were in the market, over 25, married, kids, homeowner, had good income, ambitious, dissatisfied, and business-minded, and to give those numbers of my best prospects to Pat. I remember I gave him some bad prospects, 18-year-old Pizza Hut guy, and Pat's like, hey, Pelayo, I think you can make this call by yourself. I think you got this. I think you could call the pizza guy. Give me some guys that you need me to call. And so I also learned, who I can make calls, and I got challenged to make some of those calls. And trust me, you're gonna have some fears, you're gonna have some worries, you're gonna have some insecurities. We all have them. We all have them. And I was the guy that said, man, sales isn't for me. I don't like sales. I'm not a good salesperson. And I don't like selling aggressively, but I love teaching people. And I love what this industry has done for our family, because through helping other families, we've helped our own family. And we have an amazing life now of just being free, financially free, because of Phone Zone. There's a quote that says, if you go to work in the morning because you want to, that you're in control of money. But if you go to work in the morning because you have to, that money's in control of you. You are a few phone zones away from mastering this. And then from there, if you change your system a little bit and you get everybody on your team to Phone Zone, what would your business look like if you had 10 people that could recite verbatim every single script? Every single help me, how to call for a help me, how to do 3 qualities, all the objections. What if you had 25 people, 50 people, 100 people that were phenomenal on the phones, and every week each one of those people is booking 20 appointments, and all of a sudden you got 1,000 appointments a week going on. Not all of them show, but let's say half of them show, 70% show. Your life changes all because of Phone Zone. So we will see you at the next Phone Zone. Take care, everybody.